everyone. Welcome to the July MPMA TV Workforce Development Update. I'm Brenda Hawley, the Marketing and Communications Manager at Minnesota Precision Manufacturing Association. And with me today is
Myrika Schneider, Director of Workforce Development. Hello.
Hi, Myrika. All right, we have a lot going on in the workforce development arena, and there's a lot going on around the employer development program. I wanted to see if you can share with a bunch of with our viewers and our members what has inspired the idea for the employer development program, and as a part of the Drive for $5, and how can employers get involved with this program?
For sure. So the Employer Development Program is essentially taking some of our case-by-case basis activities that MPMA has done over several years, working individually with employers, and because of our Drive for Five funding, really packaging what that looks like to be able to offer more robust services for everyone. And so if you think of workforce development, this is the employer development piece of all of workforce development. And then we also have job seeker development, student development, and then the employee development piece of that. And so for employers who are interested to learn more about the whole suite of services, that includes our sort of YMCA training. So a lot of employers have already participated in that, but that is one of those things that falls under that bucket. We have our business needs assessment as a part of the employer development program. And so myself and working in partnership with Vision One they can do a very thorough business needs assessment. We can do a smaller one. And then right now we actually have funds to support employers as they implement different activities that they may want within their organizations. And one thing that we have seen, because we work with so many small to mid-level manufacturers, is that, sometimes there is a hole in the organization where, yeah, we would love to do all of these great things, but who's going to do it? There's nobody here to do it, right? And so that's where we can come in and sort of bridge that gap for folks. And then sort of wrapped around those services is what we've been talking a lot about lately, is the dual training grant. And how can we utilize that with our employers to really help them see the value and benefit of upskilling their current staff or bringing in apprentices and helping them to really skill up. And we have been, again, you've seen it a lot in our communications, like, here's who's participating, here's why it's great. And again, it's really free. I don't want to say free money, right? But it is money available to employers and their trainees. And it may not be around forever, right? So, how can you leverage that to really, and us to,
Yes.
to help your business be sustainable?
Yes, I think that's an important piece for people to understand, is that we are there to fill that gap where there's not the time or energy for one of our members to be able to follow through with this entire process, right? So in regards to the dual training grant, what is involved? What are some of the successes, and kind of what are our hopes at MPMA's hope for the future for that?
Yeah, so with the dual training grant, that really allows employers to leverage us as the grantee. The employer would be a sub-grantee, and then we cover everything. So and again, if you don't have a grant management background or anyone within your organization, letting us do that is really, really great. And so it allows for anyone within your organization that you feel you would like to send to school for more training, if we have the programs available. So we currently have a couple that we are trying to really make sure we get all of the trainees through and graduated through those programs to have those successes, and then be able to see if we can add on additional programs. So as long as you're providing the on-the-job training support within the organization, the person has to be employed with you. They can't not be employed. And then they're able to either take class at Anoka Tech or Hennepin Technical College. Again, we may add some more colleges in the future, depending on the need and the amount of students available. Sometimes smaller colleges just don't have the capacity, because if you only have one or two people who are going to take a class, they can't provide that. But if we can continue to build that, we can definitely look at more like Pine City Technical College and St. Paul College, some of the other ones around the metro. And again, you're really leveraging us as the coach for the employee to really help them get through school. What do they need? What barriers are they facing? Because sometimes an employee isn't going to necessarily go to their employer and say, hey, by the way, I feel like I'm struggling in all these areas. Will you help me? Sometimes it is a lot easier to have that outside resource. And then we can be a sounding board to the employer to say, hey, you know what? Here's what we're seeing. Here's maybe some additional supports needed. And so that employee can really be successful versus like, well, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe this job isn't right for me. Maybe school's not right for me. and then everything blows up, and that's not what we want. So, yeah, just an opportunity to help everyone skill grow and continue to build in their workforce.
That's that's fantastic. And it is that support that we're trying to get to obviously develop this person into our next generation of leaders, right, in our industry, because we all know that that's something that there is a concern for. So is this a little bit more of like a customized career pathway? Is that kind of what that program that you're talking about is? It sounds interesting. I'm not sure if you can expound more on the customized career pathways.
Yeah, so right now we don't have any customized career pathways, but it is something that we are exploring within MPMA, and we are looking for an employer who would be the perfect participant for that. If someone has 5 or 6 or let's say 7 employees that they would like to maybe do something more customized, because what we do hear from some of our larger employers is that, hey, nobody teaches this in the cities. So we don't have the skill and we don't have anywhere to send our people to. So how do we build a program and what does that look like for us? And so under the dual training grant, there is an opportunity for that as well to sit down with an employer, look at what their needs are, and see how we can not only get the school system involved, but maybe someone to come in and be able to host a training right there on site for folks, which makes it really easy for the employer to say, yes, this is great, because you don't have to worry about like, when are my staff going to go to school? And then it's really customized to exactly what you think the needs will be, whether it's from 1 to 2 years or 2 to 10 years, really down the road. So that is something that we are exploring and would love to chat with you if you might have a need for that.
Awesome. Okay. So you've been doing this for a bit now. Do you have any current success stories that you'd like to share from us, either from an employer side or a student side who might be currently participating in this program?
Yeah, I can share too, an employer perspective side and a student side.
Oh,
From
perfect.
a student side, we have one young lady who is in the program, and for her to have us as a touch space, again, as a women, it's very much the minority in the industry too, and so to be able to say, hey, like I'm feeling like maybe this isn't right, I'm feeling, and then to be able to speak with someone about that, work through it, look at like where are you trying to go with your career? Like, don't worry about just being the only girl in the room. That's pretty awesome. And how can we support you? And that's really helped her to stay with the program. She should be graduating with her certificate in December, which is really great. And then she'll be promoted to another role within her company. So that's really,
Awesome.
really exciting. And from an employer standpoint, many of our employers have really been just very grateful for the extra support and assistance, especially those over the last year who have had their own internal workforce challenges and are like, we're just trying to keep the business going. Like we can't really
Yeah.
think of all these other things. And so thank you for being there and for making the time and to support us and our staff and help us really be successful with this. So that's really what we want, right? Is to be that like connector in the
Yes.
middle. And so it's really nice to hear those stories.
Yes. Nice. Good work. Sounds like there's a lot of good stuff happening out there. So nice. Okay. So keeping this on the short, we want to wrap up our time. Anything else that you'd like our audience to know? Is there anything upcoming?
Yeah, we will be recruiting for our next cohort of our employer development program for this next fiscal year.
Okay.
So we hope to have at least 4 to 5 employers. So if it's something that you're interested in, you want to learn more, please connect with me. We do have funds available, as I said, to support. We don't know how much longer we'll have additional funds to be able to help you build this out. So now would be a great time to take advantage of that. And even if you're just curious and want to have a conversation, no commitment, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Awesome. Yes, we do really encourage you all to find out more. Even if you're just curious, reach out to Myrika. As always, Myrika's contact information will be in the description of this posting. And thank you, Myrika, for all you're doing and supporting our manufacturers in the workforce development area. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, Brenda. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.